time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gerry. Not Gerry.
Well, it looks like the graphic is still there. Yes, hello everyone. I hope everyone's having a happy Friday. Yes, it's so wonderful. I guess it's just Teague, Martin, and me.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all.
He is on his way.
I've been abandoned by everyone who loves me.
You know what? You know why? Because you don't call us bitches enough.
It's just Gerry, Pankow, and Krebs here in the bunker together.
It's scary here in the bunker. Hold on. I think my flag's a little crooked. Let me straighten it out. There we go.
I spoke to Dr. Morell earlier, and he gave me this Vitamoltin stuff that has me completely relaxed. And don't worry, we're going to get you out of here before the Russians show up.
The what?
We're going to land a plane in front of the Reichstag and just fly them to Bavaria. Everything's be cool.
I think your medication is way too good.
It's good to see everybody. Hello, Kay Roberts. Hello, Lord Thoth. Andy Morrow. The lovely Anima Confuso, our good friend, is in the crowd. Stark of Iron says hello. All right. Rip Luke Gossett Jr. Oh, no. Sarge's KIA. No, says Lord Thoth. Unfortunately, yeah, you know what? There's no one left to beat up Richard Gere. I guess I'm going to have to go to Manhattan and do it myself, guys. He's about 78 now. I think I have a shot.
Richard Gere? Is that who you said?
Old. Yeah.
Yeah, Richard Gere, fuck him. All you got to do is bring a gerbil.
I can.
Just bring a gerbil.
Sly Stallone's agent called me up and told me that.
That or he presents.
I don't know. You know what? Ever since Richard Gere moved to New York, it's been really hard to buy gerbils around here. They're really high demand, and they go for 3-4 times going rate. So I don't know who's sucking up the gerbil supply.
I tell you. So Don Rangers is here too. Hello, Don. Happy Friday, everybody. Of course, my limey friend Andy Morrow is here. Love of my life, Anima Confusa is here. Let's see. And you said hello to everybody else.
Yes,
everybody's having a good Friday.
To represent us and say hello.
When Thoth is here, we say, all hail Lord Thoth.
All hail Lord Thoth. All hail Lord Thoth.
It's like Doomcock. It's like same thing with him. All hail Doomcock.
And by the way, I'll make the announcement here, the first official speaking of it from my mouth. Thanks to the 800 people who joined me. Yay. And thanks for you guys for helping me out and to achieve some attention. A lot of it was because you guys have been so kind to me. So thanks, Gerry and Martin.
You're welcome, Tim. But with your timing, but you said that announcement just after Gerry speaking about Doomcock. I thought you were going to admit, and yes, I am Doomcock.
Everyone knows I am Doomcock. No, I'm Spartacus. I'm not Doomcock. Hey, it's Keith.
Hey,
everybody. Whoo!
So, I got no. I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about today, so I made the thumbnail just basic. So I definitely wanted to talk about Louis Gossett Jr. dying because I thought that guy was going to live a million years. Him and the other gentleman, for some reason, his name escapes me, from Good Times, played the dad. Just seems like they're just going to keep going.
James Evans.
Yeah, James Evans.
That's the character. I'll track him down. I'll get it. I'll his name.
That's John Amos.
John Amos.
Right.
Yes.
The father from Coming to America 1. I don't know if he's in the sequel.
Whenever he pops into the news, I'm like, oh good, he's not. Because he's one of those actors I want to die before they're gone. You know, because I grew up on Good Times. That was like one of my favorite shows growing up. And like I said, I grew up in a black community, so I really just identified with that show as the only cracker on the block. And he was like he was everything I wanted my dad to be.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my dad to be like him. So when people go, "Why are you so critical of your dad?" I'm like, "Watch Good Times. You'll understand why." Because that was an awesome dad right there, and that he stood by his convictions and got fired for it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad he finally opened up and started talking about that shit. But Louis Gossett Jr., both of them were in Roots because John Amos actually played the older Kunta Kinte with his clubbed foot because they cut off his toes. So he couldn't run anymore. And Louis Gossett Jr. played, what was the character he played?
That was it wasn't Chicken George. It was
No, because that was Ben Vereen, right?
Yeah. In fact, the character Louis Gossett played was the one who welcomed in Kunta when he was younger. He was the one that told him, your name Toby now.
Your name is Toby. No, Kunta Kinte. And that was LeVar Burton's first role.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was just a kid, man. So funny when you go back and look at that. 1977, man.
Everybody tuned in. Back when you only had like 3 networks plus PBS. So everybody was watching. You know, that's one of the 5 shows in my mind of the 1970s that were the last of the definitive major must-see everybody saw shows. You know,
And it had everybody. We had a slave ship run by what? Lou Grant and the father from the Brady from the father from the Waltons. It was crazy. And we found out they're all good actors. And then the Rifleman shows up.
Well, I mean, look at it this way: you had that show, but you also had the Winds of Winter. You had North and South. You had Shogun, which was mainly 80s. That was an 80s one, but still, I mean, it back when television was just big, huge, you know?
Right. These things were so big that Star Trek the Motion Picture was going to be that for 80% of its development.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just huge. And I miss television being like that. And to me, that's where a lot of these corporations have messed up. In so much as that you got to throw a bone to network TV every once in a while. What I mean is you should always have something big for your network viewers if you really want to keep them. I'm not saying that you have to spend a whole lot of money.
When you say big, are you talking about like a production that?
Yeah,
like,
a big production.
We used to have, like, as kids, we had ABC Movie of the Week kind of thing, you know, and you'd have a really good film. And when they started the first miniseries, which was Roots and then Rich Man, Poor Man in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, it was
amazing shows.
For me, it was Upstairs, Downstairs. It was I, Claudius was really the first. And that one right there is just, that's all television and all acting. They didn't even spend any money on location shooting.
No, it's all done on sound stages.
My favorite is Lace with Phoebe Cates. Just wanted to say that.
And it came out, a lot of people don't know that it was first. It was British produced for the BBC. And we got it through
PBS.
Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, Masterpiece Theater.
And your parents had no idea what you were watching if you're my age. They're like, oh
my God,
PBS,
yeah.
it'll be fine. And all of a sudden, like, Claudius is like fisting this guy, and he's like, well, sweet Caesar, why would you do this? Like,
Right,
why is this?
You're an honest
And
man.
I really, as a kid, I thought I was getting away with something watching some of this stuff because when I was in Britain, I was 13 in London, and I was watching BBC Two, I think it was, and they had a French movie on by Francois Truffaut, and Truffaut is in it, and he's yelling at another driver, and he in French and in subtitles, he says, "Why don't you get out of my way, you motherfucker?"
It's good
in
to see
French,
that
but it's written in English
exported.
on the screen, and I'm sitting there going, what? And then the guy yells at me, he says, do not talk like that, for my mother is in the car. And he says, well, why don't you stop fucking your mother?
Oh, jeez.
And I'm sitting there, and I just kind of turned and thought, am I in trouble? I'm like looking for my dad to kick my ass, and I'm like, I'm not in trouble. I'm watching
Well, here's
material.
here's the thing about
I was a city cop, and I'm shocked to hear these things.
Here's the thing about I, Claudius. I, Claudius actually came out the year before Roots. It was 1976, but it didn't hit America until 77. And so you had all of this incredible stuff happening. And all I mean is you have your sporting events, your playoffs, your NASCAR, your Super Bowls, and that's great. But those are live sporting events. What I mean is you should throw a bone every once in a while and do one major event for all of the networks. Each one should have their own thing that they could turn to, and something that, if they have contracts, many of them still have contracts with even certain actors, you should do something to, in a way, reward all of this talent that you have. And making these kinds of things would be it, And then you go out and you find other people who are still capable of acting, people who you haven't seen in a while, like a Louis Gossett or others, and bring them in and turn it into a major production that you could build. And then, many of these corporations still have streaming. My whole thing is do it for your networks first as a premiere and then put it on your streaming platform.
Unless it's Star Trek Discovery.
That's not a major production. That's just crapping on
the corpse. The zombie.
It's called flushing money down the toilet for no good reason.
It's called I'm gonna have 1,000 subscribers by the time that show's over, thanks to how
what's worse is
it's gonna be.
In the long term, it's gonna be forgotten.
Oh yeah.
They're never gonna make their money back. Never.
Well, there's rumors going out right now that either the deal is getting ready to close for Paramount, or it's going to go badly, back the other way, and nobody is going to buy it. Okay? And I will say this. Either way, this nightmare is going to come to a close because they have been announcing so much stuff. You notice there's a lot of Star Trek news, Kurtzman Trek news coming. And I've learned over time to understand that what that means is somebody's afraid.
Have you heard their new line, by the way? Their new line is that this all is going to destroy the Star Trek renaissance because look how many shows we have. And I'm like, they're all freaking horrible. I was much happier when we got nothing at all sometime.
Yeah. And what's funny is the most popular of the shows isn't even Star Trek. It's like, I don't know what to call it. It has nothing to do with what Star Trek is about.
It's kind of like Futurama in a Star Trek setting. Yeah, Lower Decks is the one people like the best.
The kid one, too. The kid one's very popular.
The problem with the kid one is it's canceled and it's out of production. It was only just so popular. It seems to be doing okay because it no longer costs money, and they threw it to Netflix for free to try to erase the stigma of being kicked off Netflix for sucking. Netflix only took the show because it's dead at its core, no contracts, no cast, no nothing. Mm-hmm. And the thing is this, I think we all agree, nobody wants Alex Kurtzman near a children's show. If he could take over that show for 5 minutes, he's got some ideas for our kids that we don't want him to say. We don't want them to hear it from him.
This is a problem with these
This
activists.
is how you call it. This is how you call it.
I call it Star Trek.
I call it Star Trek.
Star Trek. Star Trek.
Star Trek.
DRE. Drek.
Oh, I'm from New York. I know what Drek means.
I'm from Venezuela. I don't.
Drek is the Yiddish word for shit.
Go to New York. Go to New York in 1977 and you'll understand it.
Go to New York now. You'll understand it, man. That's one of our words, Drek. And I think when people call you a schmuck, that is the schmuck is the extra skin from the end of your schmeckel after your bris.
Yep.
Well, CBS is a joke right now.
Yeah.
And the punchline is Alex
schmucks. He's a real schmuck. He's got a
well,
wallet.
He's the punchline. I don't know if you heard me. I said
I
CBS is the joke, and Kurtzman is the punchline. So it's that's how bad it is. So anyway, I wanted to get back to talking about Louis Gossett because we lost him, and it's a big shock. And I was going through his, and right off the bat, he was in Raisin in the Sun, and it's because he came up through the stage. He was a stage actor, and he played George Murchison in the film, and that was a Sidney Poitier film. That's huge, 1961. And it's, I remember reading it in school, and then one of the treats we got in sixth grade was they showed the film, and it was really good. Let's see, he was in a lot of stuff, one-time jobs. I think he got a hankering for it because it paid well, and he was like in one of my favorite shows, Invaders. 1968. He was on another show I watched religiously. He played a local tribalman in Daktari. But it wasn't until 1971 when he got signed on for as a regular on the, where is it at? It was a Revolutionary War show. Here it is, The Young Rebels, 1970 through 71. It lasted one season. And he was on for 15 episodes of the series.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So you can tell he was pushing. He was pushing. A lot of movies, bit parts here and there. And then Mod Squad, he ended up playing multiple characters on that show. And anybody who watched that show, that was a fun show.
Yeah, it was.
It was Quinn Martin too, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So he seemed to do a lot of work for Quinn Martin. The Rookies, what was it? I saw something else by him. The Invaders, that was it. So he did some work with Quinn Martin, and that probably got him some more respect in getting work as an actor. And he ended up being a lead in the film It's Good to Be Alive. You remember that one? It's a baseball movie.
No, I don't remember that one.
It makes sense that he'd be playing an athlete, though. He was huge. How tall was Lou Gossett? Like he filmed like
tall,
he was 6'4".
He was thin and lean, is what he was. He had an athlete's physique, and he looks like Paul Winfield. Paul Winfield was the lead actor for that, the main actor,
Captain General.
And Louis Gossett Jr., now being called Junior. Previously he was always cast as Louis Gossett. It wasn't until Rebels that he started using the Junior. And but there was a lot of people in that film, man. God, I mean, and this is I don't know if this is a made-for-TV one, but it was about the Brooklyn Dodgers. It's Good to Be Alive, with Paul Winfield as Campanella and Louis Gossett Jr. as Sam Brockington, two established baseball players.
Wow.
So then, again, he started doing the bit parts. He was on McCloud. Remember Lucas Tanner? Do you?
Kinda.
Let me sideline here. I'm going to bring these up because I love seeing this shit. It's just like, this guy was huge when we were kids. And he left acting to host Good Morning America. Look, this actor right here.
That's David Hartman.
Hartman.
Yeah.
Remember? He took over, he quit acting and became host of a morning news program.
Good Morning. I remember when that started.
I loved this show as a kid. And when he left, I was like, oh, the show ended. I was like, oh, and he went to Good Morning America, and I started watching Good Morning America because it had David Hartman on. I love this guy as an actor. He's such a likable person. Yeah. And then another show he was on twice, playing two different characters.
Petrocelli?
He was in Petrocelli, man. I love that show. only got one season. One of my dad's best friends was a lawyer, and he looked a lot like this guy. And I used to think, "Are you the real Petrocelli?" Because I was like 10 years old. What the fuck did I know?
He was on McCloud? Jeez.
Well, you remember this?
Well, everybody was on McCloud.
This short-lived show, it did not do well. It was a TV movie pilot, Black Bart, and it was meant to be a Blazing Saddles TV version. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
now, I mean, I remember hearing about
that
it.
was my first exposure to Louis Gossett Jr. was watching that little movie.
Gentlemen?
Not very good.
Yes.
Is it Lou Gossett Jr. who was in the legendary show that was never to air, and they just kept making it every year for some kind of tax write-off?
I don't know. What movie?
No, it was
That's
a
just a
television.
thing. It was a television show that, Keith, go ahead. You know this one.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing the story that there was a television show that they just kept shooting episodes for, but it was never ever to air because they kept using it as a tax write-off.
It might have been Black Bart's subsequent seasons, because I think Lou Gossett Jr.
Black Bart was meant to be a
involved?
series. It was meant to be a series, and it just flopped.
Yeah,
They had
because they couldn't.
terrible viewership.
Can't do that.
Well,
on
they
TV.
couldn't use the same humor. I mean, you're talking network television of 1975, and even though the humor Blazing Saddles was what it was, you couldn't get away even intimating half that stuff in the nicest way. You couldn't get away with that. It was such a different time.
Weird.
The sheriff is a near only works in the movie. We don't know why.
Yeah, but even then, even with the joke like that, the way you just did
too
it,
much for TV.
it was too much.
Yeah. And Keith is
Now-
here laughing at it with me, so there's nothing wrong with the sheriff.
No.
Is a near. The sheriff is a near is damn freaking funny, but what are you gonna do? It's people like the fact that it's on TV. It used to be like this with Batman too. The fact that Batman existed and it almost implied it was for kids because of Batman 66's popularity with kids in syndication. So there was this implication that it should have been more family, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
So
He
he was on another show that I liked a lot. I don't know if you ever watched it with David Jansen called Harry O.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good show. It shows only 1975, but it actually had 2 seasons. Good
Mark.
Times. Oddly, with John Amos again, 2 episodes, he played an uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember him from any of these, though, because it wasn't until he played the character he played in Roots, and we'll get to it here. He played Fiddler.
That's it.
He played Fiddler on Roots, and that's when he connected in my brain.
Fiddler is the person who teaches Chicken George how to fight the roosters too. Like he's got some skill. He's a transitional character from like one episode to the next because he's friends with both generations, if I remember correctly. But they might have changed actors on that. Roots a long time ago. I might need to watch that again.
1977, man.
Oh,
You know what? I will say this. I take my hat off to Alex Haley Jr.'s historical research as far as making a very realistic story about things that definitely did happen. But I think, like he was just told, like people are into genealogies and stuff that's big now. Just say it really happened to people that you really knew. And it's like, well, it really happened. But I mean, like we don't have like my great-grandfather's Nokia was destroyed when they burned down Black Wall Street or whatever happened to him. Like, so this was good historical fiction, but he was forced to oversell it as
well. I do want to point out that
was.
Alex Haley got into a lot of hot water over
that's
some
what
of the
I'm saying.
history because he fictionalized some of it and made it
He
out to be true.
He made his relatives into a Forrest Gump type group of people who were able to be everywhere at once and experience every bad thing while seeing every good thing. And it was unbelievable. And he got called out. And to his credit, he was like, yeah. Finally, he had like 2 years left to go, but he said it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. That entire industry, anybody that's into genealogy will tell you that anyone who is black, it's a limited amount of material on your family history. Period. That's just the way it is. If you are black in America, your ability for genealogy only goes so far. Because once you get back to the time when everybody was working on certain farms and stuff.
Yeah, at some point you got to go back and you find out your property.
Yeah, and then but on top of
Not
that,
every black person, because a lot of them were free men when they came here.
that's true. But I mean, you can't.
I was both.
You can't get past the fact that they never kept any records about where they got you from, what your real name is, and that's the reason why that part of it is impossible, because many people get listed as property, not even by their name.
Yeah, and this is the problem that ended up leading to so many people changing their last names, because that last name came from being owned by that person.
Yeah, but
that's why you have so many. Like in high school, I had so many black friends with last names like Washington and Jefferson. I shit you not.
Yeah,
because I lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia, one of the most historic cities in America outside of Boston. And but I do want to point out, this is one of my favorite films that he was in. He was the villain in The Deep.
Yep.
He was the main villain and got his head eaten by a big moray eel. Remember that shit? When that happened, I was like, fuck! I was like, oh my God. I would see that with my dad.
And then, hello?
Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Martin.
Oh. I had a connection problem. And then, oh my God, Nick Fury got eaten by a shark almost in the same way.
Yes. Well, I mean, it seemed to be a thing for people of color. We seem to go out very, very, very certain ways in certain movies because, if you're gonna get rid of us, it can't really be too original. So
he was eaten by a dinosaur in Jurassic Park as well. So there's something to that.
He did another great baseball film. I remember this one. Don't Look Back, the story of Satchel Paige. That is a hell of a movie right there.
I'd like to see that. I need to see that.
You could run.
I've seen a lot of stuff that I remember watching, but didn't really hit me.
You could.
Oh my God. When he got cast, because the original screenplay, the way it was written, was a white dude. And he came in there and killed his audition. Killed it. And got the part of Sergeant Emil Foley, senior gunnery sergeant. Emil Foley. And that was when his career was made. Got an Oscar for that. Wow. Great film. And I'm doing that movie this Monday, by the way, Military Monday. We were going to do Shogun, the original series, but with the loss of Louis Gossett Jr., we're going to do Monday. We're going to do Officer and Gentleman, and then Tom and Officer and Gentleman, and on Saturday, Tom and I are doing Enemy Mine. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Yeah.
So
that's a great movie. Kind of a great movie.
He had a huge place in my heart. I mean, this movie. Oh my God, Jaws 3D. I went to see that in a fucking theater and I regretted it. I hated that 3D so bad.
I didn't. I like
that dumb movie.
I wonder if he made enough to buy himself a nice house.
I need to acknowledge two things. The first one is that Anima Confusa, our lovely Anima Confusa, has been a member for 20 months.
Yeah, she will stop being a member when she breaks up with me and says, I break with thee, I break with thee, I break with you, and then throws dog poop on my shoes.
Oh, jeez.
For all the time.
That's a reference to something. So if you don't know what that is, I feel sorry for you.
For all the time she has been with us, we have a video for her. And here we go.
Moist.
No, her video is.
Okay,
sorry, I had to do it, and we have to acknowledge the presence of our good friend.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Wow, Kyle's here.
Oh, Kyle.
So, yeah, Kyle's mom's a bitch, big fat bitch, big.
The hell did you say?
That's from South Park, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger, longer, and uncut. So I wanted to point out that he was one of the main characters on The Powers of Matthew Starr.
Well, he was the main. He was the
character.
Walt
Shepard.
Yep.
Julian. That's right.
Yeah.
The Powers of Matthew Star.
Yeah,
And then he got this miniseries,
Wow, I remember that.
Sadat. And I watched all of that, man. I love that. That was so fucking good. I was a big fan of Anwar Sadat, and of course, he was murdered, assassinated.
Mhm.
What a
Most
fucked up man.
spectacular thing I've ever seen as far as until some stuff happened in New York.
Enemy Mine, which is just a great fucking movie. I love
Indeed.
that movie. And Iron Eagle, I love that film too. Although I call out some of the military stuff in it, I have a big love for that film. I didn't like any of the other sequels, but I really loved the first one.
I didn't like Iron Eagle. However,
You didn't like
The best
Aces where they
part of the
shoot down
movie
those
was
lousy
him.
drug dealers?
Wow.
I remember Iron Eagle 3.
Couldn't stand any of those. Firewalker was fun with Chuck Norris. Come on.
Yeah.
Cigar chomping. That was fucking great. It's a great B movie. It's no better than a B movie. It's all it is. And I started to feel like somewhere in the 80s that Louis Gossett wasn't getting the roles that he deserved. He was taking jobs because he wanted the paycheck. And Firewalker is one of those films, and so is Iron Eagle, to be honest with you. But Enemy Mine, that was an A+ film.
Can I ask you which is it him is it not him who plays the security guard in the building that all the rich people live in, and the rich liberal whiny bastard played by Martin Sheen just can't stand him or his confrontation? Like, you're real mean to those people smoking crack in front of the building. You should be a little nicer, and spends the whole movie sort of like reining him in and sort of
Sounds
sort
like
of
a
scoffing at him.
Who's doing the
Martin Sheen is the liberal jerk off who lives in the building.
Oh yeah, so he's
the
a male
like
Karen.
that.
Okay, I got you. He's a male Karen.
He's a male Karen from in like an 80s vein, and he's just like real like liberal to the point of like he's not liberal. He's an extreme left winger who's just like he takes it upon himself to sort of like
goes
like
beyond
second guess the guard,
even your typical Hollywood liberal. He's
Martin
a
Sheen's
different
a tough
kind of
guy
animal.
to figure out.
He
Martin
is
Sheen
not
on
a blue
Monday,
dog Democrat. He is absolutely. And him and his son Charlie Sheen said some of the most crackpot shit after 9/11 that just should have gotten them like canceled.
Emilio's the genius of the family.
Sadly, the principals. Actually, that is a good film. Did you like that one, Keith?
Yeah.
Jim Belushi, Louis Gossett Jr. It was a good film. Iron Eagle 2, I saw it. I didn't like it, but I did see it. I saw all of the Iron Eagle films because I'm a completionist. Roots the Gift. I don't remember if I even watched that as a kid.
I did
The
because
last one was. Go ahead.
Well, I was in my 20s at this point, and I think I missed that one.
Roots the Gift had a lot of additional Star Trek people in that one, if I remember correctly.
Well, LeVar Burton returns. I remember that.
But it's let's see if I can get this right. There's oh man, I can't remember his name.
Is this related to at the same time? I think the very, very last thing we get from Roots is on at the same time as TNG is called Queen, a Roots like origin story.
Oh, I remember that.
Halle Berry? Was it Halle Berry? And then that's at that point they're like, we've had enough of this Roots stuff without setting the record straight about this history. It's like these things aren't untrue, but his ancestors don't have diaries. They couldn't read. He can't have any way of knowing this. And the only person you could
everything
know is
he
his
knew where they
grandmother
were, who they were, but he didn't know the full story. So he's making up
know
stuff.
What they did day to day. But
yeah.
what he didn't make stuff up. What he did was he studied the South, and he had a really, really strong command of antebellum society, and he wrote a good book about it. But I think he was pressured by his agent to say it was his family history. And we've seen it happen to the guy with a million tiny pieces. He wrote a story about drugs, jail, and recovery, and his life had some of that in it, but not all of it.
Oh, he got slammed. I remember that shit. He was on Oprah
but
Winfrey
he got a
and
second
all that shit.
She was the one who denounced him, but then he kind of won the day by saying this is really more a problem with the publishing industry, because I think what we found out is my book was good. Look how many copies it sold. I'm sorry I had to lie about it. I didn't want to. But it was this or starve to death. So for his part, I understood it, but it doesn't mean that he shouldn't have been more fulsome.
Yeah, everybody loves to cancel people, and I don't do it. I just
I'll cancel Oprah. I'll cancel her.
Well, now the cast of Roots the Gift, that was Sean Cassidy, Jerry Hardin, Tim Russ, Kate Mulgrew, and Avery Brooks.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Yeah, with Patrick Stewart is like, I have come here to visit your country.
Oh my God! Look at the fucking
everyone.
Almost all Star Trek.
Keith, why did the Q let these people suffer this way?
There's Tim Russ. Wow.
Tim Russ, Mr. Levity. Follow him on Twitter, guys. He is a gift.
Oh, look at these photos here, though. Oh, that is great. Look at that.
And because you're doing it over a lifetime, in having these actors be older, that fits in with the story.
Oh my God. Keith.
What year is this?
Roots was an away mission.
Yes.
Of course it was. You didn't see the part where they cut Geordie saying, I want to experience antebellum life as a slave. And
1988.
And he just he appears there and it's like, Chicken George, we better get down to the competition or Matt's going to be real upset. And he's like, oh, I really feel immersed. And it's like, that was his thing.
Yeah,
they told him no more porn.
This was the forgotten superhero film.
Yeah.
By you.
I liked this film. I enjoyed it.
I remember it fondly.
Thomas Jane?
No.
What?
Yeah, so then yes.
I'm just giving you a look right now. Right now. I'm giving you a look for that.
There's a Thomas Jane one. There's a
I
Thomas
really
Jane one.
enjoyed the shit out of this film. Louis Gossett plays the second main character in the film as Jake Berkowitz, former cop, and he's been hunting and following the Frank Castle, the Punisher. This film was really they really did try to attempt to make it the Punisher. He took it so seriously, Dolph Lundgren. He darkened his hair, and when they told him to get tan and fit, he went and stayed out of the sun. He would stay indoors and avoid the sun. So he was like porcelain. Look how porcelain white he is here. Because he says this is a guy that lives in a sewer and goes out at night. This guy is only active at night. He doesn't do anything during the day. And they gave him dark rings under his eyes. Remember that shit?
Yep, I remember this movie. I had fun.
I heard one of my friends is planning to do it and talk about it. And I said, oh, you got to invite me on because I love this fucking movie. Has one of my favorite moments in here is with this lady.
The Yakuza lady? Yeah.
Yeah. When she's sitting at the table and all those Italian mobsters are talking, and she says, my ancestors were running Japan while your ancestors were still fucking sheep. And I was like, were they Scottish? But I don't care.
So
I fucking love that line. It's a great line. Look, if you've never seen The Punisher from what was it, 89? Yeah, 89, same year as Batman, the movie. And absolutely, I think somebody said that in the chat that it came out the same year and it's just a forgotten film. But it should not be forgotten. I really do like this film. And I thought Dolph Lundgren did a good job as Frank Castle. Mm-hmm. The movie just kind of sucked. And it's not his fault or Louis Gossett. I blame that on some of the producers.
I think the movie is a little confused in what it aims to. The introduction
they
of
made the mistake of also not having a skull on his chest. Huge mistake.
Yeah, that was the big thing. But they did try to compensate by giving him a knife, a dagger that had the skull on it. But it's not the same,
Was the logo already in trouble that long ago?
No, it's not that. It was I think the studio and I think maybe the director were trying to. It's back when Hollywood was really not interested in truly adapting comic books. They wanted the idea. They didn't want all the stuff that went with it because they thought it was too stupid. And so they would make changes because they would tell. This is one of the films that led Marvel to eventually starting its own studio because they kept being told by a lot of the Hollywood insiders that, oh, no, we can't make this. You can't adapt all of this. You can take the basic idea, but we got to change it. And every time Hollywood got involved and started changing stuff, the thing got stupid. And so, Marvel had enough and decided, let's just make our own movies. And it worked for at least a little while until Kevin Feige got in charge. And then, yeah.
This was a really good, I can't remember, it was HBO Pictures. I know that. But I liked this movie, El Diablo. It was a good Western. Anthony Edwards was the weakest part of the thing, and he still did a good job. John Glover.
Robert Beltran.
Jr. Yeah. Joey Pants. That's his name, Joey Pants. That's
Joey Pants.
Yeah.
Joey Pants.
Jim Beaver.
MC fucking Gainey, this big motherfucker.
That's right.
Jim Beaver. This
Jim
guy
Beaver.
was in everything. Branscombe Richmond. He was in everything.
Actor and stuntman is what he. Yeah.
Another good actor, Gino Silva, was in this. Really good one. Louis Gossett Jr. is the second lead in the film, and Anthony Edwards. And to be honest with you, technically, Louis Gossett is the main character because on every poster, I'll show you right here, the rule of thumb in doing posters, the largest person on the poster is your main character.
Yep.
But he gets shared credit at the top with Anthony Edwards, but Louis Gossett Jr. is above Anthony Edwards.
Yep.
And how that comes about, it is called contract negotiation. Trying to figure out before he agrees to be in the film, they have to agree to everything with placement.
Yeah, and you know why? It's called, one person actually has this nice gold statue here that says he's the star.
Yeah, he's the star. And this was the first time we ever really heard this was a little film called Towering Inferno with Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. And there was a fight over how their names would appear on the poster. So, and it got so bad in that film that Steve McQueen was counting his lines.
Wasn't the compromise
Paul
that
Newman's?
wasn't the compromise?
He had to have the same amount of lines as Paul Newman. Remember that shit? God, that's crazy shit. But El Diablo, good Western. Now, what were you going to say?
At the beginning of Towering Inferno, it was so petty you could see it in the credits. I think it was like someone said their name, like they had two competing and not that easy to square up demands about where their names would be. So like one person's name had to be highest and the other person had to be named as star.
Well, yeah, that's
and
the
their
fight.
name
that was going
had
on
to be
between,
larger. Yeah. So we have this weird thing where it's like, I don't know if I have
that
this
was
right.
the first movie I ever heard of that shit happening. And I mean, the fights like this go back further because you've got Betty Davis and Joan Crawford fighting over billing. But let's get back to this, though.
Watch the
I remember Cover Up.
Where the beginning is.
Cover Up was, you got Dolph Lundgren and Louis Gossett Jr. together again after The Punisher.
Yep.
It was a fun little B movie. It had a good cast, solid little story. But it never rose above being a B movie, B action film.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You can do
nothing
a lot
wrong
of
with
good.
it. I like B movies.
Me too.
I really do. And then this was a huge one. Yeah, Josephine Baker TV movie was really fucking good. And for a HBO TV movie, her fucking ass there in that photo. Oh my God, that is a hot ass.
Oh jeez.
Josephine Baker was something else.
Is it warm in here?
Yeah, I know. Ruben Blades was, oh my God. Ruben went from being a musical guy to being a great fucking actor.
Yeah.
The first thing I remember him being in was Predator 2. And I'd been listening to his music because his stuff was political against the communism and shit. So Craig T. Nelson was in there too. Wow, this is a great movie, man. If you've never seen this film, you should check it out. Josephine Baker's story. Toy soldiers. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Terrorists take over the boys' military school. Sean Astin there. See him there? You always see him because you get that big fucking Habsburg lip sticking out way over his bottom lip. Good actor, though. I always felt bad for him because the kid was raised by Patty. You know, Patty Duke was his mother, and John Astin took John Astin's name. But in reality, he was another actor's son or producer's son. And he eventually found out. Is John Astin still with us?
No.
Did he finally pass away? Because that guy was going forever. Oh, Will Wheaton. I forgot he was in that movie.
Keith Coogan. R. Lee Ermey.
R. Lee Ermey is in it, of course.
Mason Adams.
Elliott and Andrew Divoff. This was a B movie actor right here, best known as the Djinn in the Djinn film series.
And a great voice. He had a great voice.
Yes. But, you know, he plays a very small part in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. He plays a Russian soldier in that. And the reason why he got that part was because he speaks fluent Russian.
Wow.
Fluent Russian. And then, of course, Louis Gossett is the dean of the school. It's a good film. I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
I did. Let's see.
What year was that again? Toy Soldiers? That's 1991. So
yeah,
that's
1991.
That's after Die Hard. So
sounds like Taps in reverse.
Now, another film that I liked that he was in, a couple of them here. Keeper of the City was really good. Remember that one?
Yep.
Very good film.
Anthony LaPaglia.
Yeah, Anthony LaPaglia is in it. Peter Coyote. My God, what a great cast. Good cop thriller. I enjoyed that flick.
Not a film that cost a whole lot of money. You know, you could make good stuff and not have to break the bank.
Exactly. So here, I want to get to this one, Diggstown with James Woods. This is a great fucking movie. And it's a con man story where they win. They're the good guys. The two con men are fucking good guys. I love this movie. Oh, yeah, Oliver Platt's in it.
Yeah,
man.
Bruce Dern.
Oliver Platt in his day. A young Heather Graham is in it.
Randall
Tex Cobb.
Oh.
Heather
Is that
Graham
guy still alive?
I
never hear anything about him anymore.
No, I don't think he is.
Or is at least retired.
I need to find out real quick because, man,
Bruce
this dude was
Dern,
so
wow.
awesome. He's still a fucking live, dude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez, dude.
What
Wow.
happened to him, man?
6'3".
Last thing he did was an 01 with Texas, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Well,
Fuck, man. He was the late 80s and 90s, man. Who will ever forget him in Uncommon Valor and Raising Arizona?
Yep.
He has the best part, in my opinion, in Raising Arizona as the bounty hunter. Fuck, man. I love that dude. He's trying to figure out which grenade had a pin pulled on it. Nick Cage is like, I'm sorry. He's got the pin on his finger. He's like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Diggstown was a great flick. The next film, Monolith, I remember watching that. Bill Paxton and him.
And Lindsay Frost.
Yeah.
I remember when they tried to make her a big thing for a moment.
He did not work. She was not good. John Hurt always playing either villains or support, political characters. He got relegated, and he was a much better actor than that.
Up until the Harry Potter films, yes.
But here he is. This is a good film. Science fiction, and well worth watching. let's see. Let's get to. I never watched this because I love the original series, Lonesome Dove. Return to Lonesome Dove. It got a 7.2 rating on here, so it's good. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I remember seeing this, but I can't recall much about it. I remember Nick Nolte's in it.
Shaquille O'Neal as well.
Yeah, it's a basketball film. And JT Walsh.
Ed O'Neal.
Man, there's a guy we lost too soon.
Shaquille O'Neal, good at basketball athletics as well as heavy drama. I think that's one of the first names that comes to mind.
Shaq is an amazing actor. Who didn't love him as Steel?
Or Kazam. Kazam was a great movie where he plays a genie, often part of the Mandela effect with Sinbad.
And I'm trying to find everything. I got tired. I don't, I've seen all the way to 3. I did not see this one, Iron Eagle on the Attack. I just skipped it all aside.
Touched.
I think it was only shown on like planes, like you had to fly to like England that week to see that one.
I actually saw this one, Legend of the Mummy. This is the one based off Bram Stoker's story.
Yeah.
And it was not the classic one, so it didn't do well. But I thought it was a well-produced film. The effects were, they were okay.
Mark Lindsay Chaplin? Jeez.
Mary Jo Catlett, oh my God. Her Fargo accent is so fucking funny when she does
Richard Carnes? Jeez.
Richard Carnes. Back before Tool time.
Victoria Tennant, ex-girlfriend of Steve Martin. And a very good actress. She's been in a few movies that I really enjoyed.
Steve's the 80-year-old.
Something you never hear, but it's a question in the back of a lot of people's mind. Do you think she missed his penis when they broke up?
Oh.
Oh, man.
What's the deal? Is Martin supposed to have a huge Johnson?
I don't know. I just think something stupid.
I'm going to imagine that she probably had some machinery or automation to replace that, if not a new boyfriend. Right.
And these
away.
were straight to video kinds of movies. And this is when you can see the downfall of his career, where he's taking films and shows for the paycheck.
Well, is he physically imposing anymore at this point? You know what I mean? He's kind of a little old to be the most dangerous guy in the room.
Yeah, he was in his 60s at this point. By 2000,
he needed to be able to transfer to a role like Grief Karga in The Mandalorian.
Well, this kind of reminds me of the way his career started. He started doing episodic TV and bit parts, and it's kind of where his stuff ended up going. Dead Zone, 1 episode. This is a guy in the waning years of his career in the 2000s.
The star's Dead Zone was Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah. He was only in 1 episode, is what I said. He was in 1 episode of the Dead Zone. Good show.
I was going to say, good show. There's not a lot of episodes to either.
Half-Life?
So who knows?
2?
Yeah, he was in the video game Half-Life.
Jeez.
And
I forgot he was in Stargate SG-1.
Leprechaun?
Yeah, he was in 5 episodes. He was in All In, which is not a bad film. It's just, nothing to write home about. Solar Attack, I've never even seen it. Half-Life 2, Episode 1.
Hey,
handful of Stargates.
He played a drill sergeant in Family Guy. Oh my God.
Backwards a little bit on Stargate. There's about to be some information dropping, from what I'm hearing, within the next few weeks on Stargate.
Are they figuring it out yet? Are they going to stick with the TV show, or are they going to go with Dean Devlin and what's his name version?
From what I'm hearing, the rumor is that they are still looking to do a television series that is kind of a small reboot, but takes advantage of a lot of the storylines and some of the characters that you've seen in the Stargate universe has done through Stargate SG-1 and beyond. So, but like I said, rumors, but we should be hearing something within the next couple of weeks.
Now, I'm going to tell you,
Roland Emmerich needs the check.
I remember this episode. It was really fucking good. he appeared on one of my favorite shows, Psych. And they did such a great job. They would find actors who just don't work much anymore and do homages to what they did. And this is one of my favorites. Here's Lassie. Great episode. God, I love that show. I'm so sad because the guy who played Lassie, what is his name? Where's it at? Timothy Olmanson had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back, but he's it's so sad to see him. And it breaks the heart because he was so fucking good. He's also in that musical Medieval series. I can't even remember what the hell that was. I'll just look it up real quick.
Oh yeah. Because Weird Al did an episode of that show.
It's got to be up here. Because the reason why they didn't get another season is because he had a stroke. So the show ended.
Gallivant.
Oh, I loved Angie Tribeca too. Gallivant, there it is. They got 2 seasons, and he had the stroke, and it's really fucking sad. Wait a minute, he's in Mission Impossible 3? I got to go back and look for that. That's like a what do you call that? An Easter egg.
Is he the voice who gives him the instructions or something like that? Because there's room for appearances not on screen in the Mission Impossible concept.
It says IMF agent, and that's all it says. So let's see.
Click to see if he comes up.
Oh my God, Michelle Moynihan.
Hubba hubba.
Yeah, hubba hubba.
She gets the old blood going, I'm telling you.
She's so gorgeous. It's so
nice.
Ridiculous. Yeah, there's no link to show. It just says IMF agent. That's interesting, but it broke my heart when he had a stroke. But this was a great episode of Here's Lassie. I love that episode, man. Every episode was a practical classic, but I remember this movie, low budget CG animated film. It was pretty good. It's okay. He was one of the main characters. Let's see. And then one episode, you'll just see this over and over again. It just breaks my heart seeing an actor's career go like that. Extant was a show that should have been better. I got to be honest with you, because I liked the premise. It was an alien invasion show. And you couldn't tell if they're bad or not at first. Oh, man. King of the Dance Hall. I don't remember that. Undercover Grandpa. Oh, my God. Wrecking Brooklyn. It's just, there's Watchmen, the series. That's a show I refused to watch because it was racist.
Hey, David Martin's in the house.
He's in the new Color Purple as old Mister. Isn't this a musical too?
Yeah, I think that's more of a musical, yeah.
And yeah, D. Bud Martin, what's up, buddy? Who all popped in here? Who's all been here? Have you been keeping a log?
Yes, of course.
Because I don't see the last one I see is E. Clay Thomason.
Yeah,
of course, Chinatsky will be joining us in the last half hour of the show. Don Ranger Power, Penny, Kay Roberts, Andy Morrow, Kingsport Cal, Zax. Yeah, there they are. They're starting to show up now. I think you just added them.
Read by Nature.
Read by Nature, yes. John Hurt was doing TV work by the end too, though not so bad. Yeah, John Hurt. I mean, oddly, my first exposure to him was of course Alien, but my second exposure to his acting was The Naked Civil Servant on PBS. Again, I'm watching a show that a kid probably shouldn't have been watching. Because The Naked Civil Servant had gay sex in it and simulated gay sex. And I was sitting in my room going, what the fuck is with this dude? But I was fascinated with the character of Quentin Crisp. And then I found out a couple of years later that he was close friends with Sting. And in fact, An
He's
Englishman in New York. The song
video
is about Quentin Crisp.
Well, not originally, and the original concept for the video was different than what they ended up going with. Originally, Sting was trying to get all of his British friends who were living in America to be in it, and he was wanting to get people like and
he found out no one likes hanging out with Sting.
Ozzy Osbourne, he wanted to get in it, and various others. And for whatever reason, they couldn't get everybody together, so they eventually just decided, we'll get Quentin Crisp and just film him around New York City and make that the video. And it works. And it's a really good video. And Billy Idol, that was it. They were wanting to get Ozzy Osbourne, Billy Idol, and...
Yeah, but the main focus of it is it was on Quentin Crisp, because when you listen to the lyrics, you understand that he's talking about someone who's... a gentleman will walk and never run.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite lines in the song.
Mm-hmm.
It takes oh man, I forgot the line now. It takes I can't remember the fucking line.
It takes a what, Martin?
Nobody's interrupting you, Martin. Talk.
No. I was going to ask, are we doing the mid-show ad today?
Yeah. I just didn't want to do it on the Michael Caine one.
Okay, so
let's see. A walking cane here at my side. I mean, this is clearly Quentin Crisp. If manners maketh a man, as someone said, he's the hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and smile. Be yourself no matter what they say. That's not about Sting. That's about Quentin.
I can't imagine Ozzy Osbourne consenting to hang out with Sting. He's like, all right, yeah, sure. No problem. We'll see you.
According to Sting in an interview about the music video, that was the original idea for the music video. That they were going to get Ozzy, and they were going to get Billy Idol, and they were going to get one other person.
I strongly believe he would show up and take his money. I'm just saying, the idea that Sting and Ozzy
maybe he'd bite a bat's head off.
You know, they would have collaborated by now if they had any interest in hanging out with each other. We're talking two insane people, insane in completely different ways. I mean, I don't know if the world can handle. That's like
when he
the
started bragging about
Keith from Star Trek,
tantric 12-hour sex. I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Nobody wants. Wants to have sex for 12 hours."
Well, speak for yourself, but I just don't use tantric methods to achieve that.
I mean, technically, if you fall asleep with your dick in a woman and wake up the next morning still in there, did I have 8 hours sex? Fuck off, Sting. But I love him. But fuck you, Sting, and your weird shit.
Warren Beatty believes that weird stuff too. So I don't know what's making it.
And with that, we're doing our ad.
We'll be
forget that comment.
Just hit the commercial, goddammit.
The Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated Inc. graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
I like that song. So to close up on Louis Gossett, we will be celebrating him some more on the show. We're going to do Officer and a Gentleman on Monday. And then next Saturday, Tom and I are going to do Enemy Mine. We had planned to do Ghostbusters too, but I got to be honest, man. I'd much rather, because Ghostbusters is already on the decline in the theater. And so
I was shocked to death about that, but I would say if they made another fun, feel-good movie that was lightly comic in tone but didn't have jokes and wasn't a comedy, people weren't going to go through another Ghostbusters movie that was not a comedy.
This film was better written in many ways than Afterlife.
Okay,
and a lot less member berries. But the problem was they had a person's hands in there that probably shouldn't have been in there. The film's director. He shouldn't have been involved in the writing. It should have been Aykroyd and the kid that directed Afterlife. Those two should have
writer, because there were no jokes in the first movie. It was a movie with a comic tone that was funny, but it's a stretch to call Ghostbusters 1 a comedy. It's an enjoyable Ghostbusters Afterlife a comedy.
We only get 3 scenes with Bill Murray. Come on.
Yeah, and like they handled Egon well and all that other stuff.
They didn't bring Dana back.
Don't get me
wrong.
They
focused on all the wrong things.
It could have been better, but the thing was, it wasn't a bad start to a relaunch. And putting the Ghostbusters in New York for the second movie, to me, it seemed like okay. They realized that this is part of their milieu, but I don't mind them relaunching out here. That made sense. But then to find out some of the other things that like the movie just isn't doing well. Absolutely knocked me over with a feather. I didn't think it would do poorly right out of the gate. I really didn't. And they said there would be more.
And we'll get into that another time. We'll get into it another time.
May have recovered on weekend too.
We will get into it another time, Teague. We'll get into it another time. I wanted to finish this up here. So I wanted to wrap up here because this is a sad part of this. With Louis Gossett Jr., you go to IMDb and they list best known for, and you get this fucking Jaws 3D. And I'm like, no, he is not best known for that. Iron Eagle is something he's better known for. It should be An Officer and a Gentleman, Enemy Mine, Iron Eagle, and Roots. And who the fuck at IMDb put that movie there?
Someone trolled him.
It's a 3.7 rated film. Wow. It's just, I don't like that. He's got several films coming up. I don't know what's going to happen with the status of that with his passing away. If he had been already finished on some of these, it says completed. If so, I guess it's animated. He did a voice. Post-production. So this film's wrapped. In production, Awaken the Reaper. Oh, I don't know. Pre-production, they've lost him for that. In development, they lost him for that. Post, this one's done. They lost him for that. Who knows on this? Hopefully they got all the voices recorded, because usually they record animated films early, like a year before the film comes out. Because it usually takes a year to 2 years to finish the animation. Pre-production, he's not going to be in that film. Pre-production, he's out on those films, and they need to remove those because there's no way he's in them. Yeah,
we have a comment from our ex chat. See?
Yeah, absolutely. I know who that is. That's my buddy Chris. He wrote a song, "I'll Eat Anything." Cracked me up, man. I used to hang out with him a lot.
Did he write it for Lizzo?
No, he wrote it for himself. It's funny shit. Very funny dude. He and his brother are very close friends of mine, Sean and Chris. In fact, Sean's getting ready to move to Chicago if he hasn't already, and we're trying to figure out how to get together. Because, that's one of my daughter's uncles, and they're family. So, and I'm not sure where Chris is living now. He had moved to Chicago briefly, but I don't know if he's still there. But it's good to hear from you, Chris. Glad you popped in, man. And the original, they can't top the original. And my problem is that Dan Aykroyd has this love for the animated series. And don't get me wrong, it's great, but it's not the film. It was not even meant to be the film. It was meant to be its own little universe, its own pocket universe. And Aykroyd keeps pushing to have him in. and this is one of the biggest complaints, and I think even the guys at oh my god, Red something, whatever they are, they do reviews.
Red Letter Media.
Yeah, Red Letter Media. The guy said it really well, perfectly. He says this is a plot straight out of one of the animated shows. The villain is a character from the animated series. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a Ghostbusters villain. And I thought that's an interesting take on that. And all of them kind of like shit on it a little bit at the same time. They kind of say it's still a good film. It's just got problems. What's sad though is, and I watched it. I'm not going to see it again. I got annoyed with it. I got annoyed with the whole female ghost relationship thing. Just that was bizarre. It was weird in an off-putting way. It was very off-putting.
Could have been done better.
Lost her grandfather that doesn't have a dad, which is part of the fucking story, and they decide to make it a girl instead of a ghost dad that she might playing chess. I'm like, if I were the writer when the chess piece went, I would have had an old ghost, and she starts to get close to this old ghost, and the old ghost is of course now being used by the villain to get at her. Now I'm like, that would have been a much better story than what they did. It was stupid. It just dumb. Ghost girl. Oh fuck. I'm critical of not just bad writing, but bad character development.
Yeah.
Bad character ideas.
Mm-hmm.
What was that, Chris? Alabama Roll Tide. You're in Alabama now. Holy shit. I'm going to bet if you look to your left and look to your right as far as the houses go, a lot of rednecks.
Either that or he's just referencing the great movie Crimson Tide, right?
Yeah. There you go. Chris is a good dude, though. He's been on our show. He was on the UFO Wednesday. He would pop on with Dawn and me a couple of times.
Hello, Peter Vigman fan site and Read by Nature, and hi, Secret Circus podcast.
Of course, Vinkman's Girl is a close friend of ours, and Read by Nature, of course. So it's great seeing everybody.
Is Vinkman's Girl, in fact, Vinkman fan site on Twitter?
No, Vinkman's Girl.
Not a short thing.
And they're the same person. Peter Vinkman fan site and
sure.
Vinkman's Girl, one person.
I had thought so for a long time, but I wanted to make sure. Hi there, Reed. Thanks for the hail back, buddy.
So let's close this up. We're wrapping up on Gossett Jr. We can talk about some of the other news this week, Keith.
Yeah.
Of course, here's our thumbnail. Justin, and if you haven't watched Valiant Renegade's video, after the show, go watch it.
Really?
Yes. This is huge. That a scoop was leaked to the Wall Street Journal that the votes are weighing heavy towards Nelson Peltz getting a seat on the
what? So people want money instead of communistic terrible movies. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's hope yet.
Identity politics doesn't make money. Doesn't. Period.
Woke. What happens?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
Today is a great day, and to see the end of Alderaan. I mean, to see the end of Kenobi. You know what? I'm happy to hear this. This is great news. Ghostbusters was shocking news, but this is good news. Although I'll say it again, if they made another just plain old feel-good movie with a lightly comic tone, people might have been like, that was a good first movie, but you can't continue in this nature. It has to become comedic at some point, because that's Ghostbusters.
By the way, I want to take this moment to send a nod to an idiot on Twitter who
I got your tweet.
Because if you follow me on Twitter, you know that anybody can read my tweets, but only people I follow are allowed to respond to my tweets because I don't feel like having drive-by trolls on my fucking page. And the drive-by trolls, what they do is they share my thing and make their comment that way, and I'm fine with that. I'll respond to them. Maybe, sometimes. Most of the time I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'll just write, thanks for sharing. Even if they're saying something shitty about what I said, thanks for sharing. I don't fucking care what you think. But this one guy, because I said, go woke, go broke, he says, it's get woke, go broke, when he shared it.
Yes.
And he wrote that. And I wrote this long fucking like insult. And then I just deleted it, and I ended up putting an animated GIF of Sulu going, "Oh my!" 'Cause I just didn't care. I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot." So this one's the you idiot.
It's very hard to understand the
Get
purpose
broke,
behind
go
their
broke.
response. Like, yeah,
I
are
mean,
you just
I want you to think about
OCD
that.
grammar?
Get broke, or get woke, go broke. It's like
I mean,
I've heard it go woke, go broke. It's the only way I've heard it.
I've heard both, but
Oh,
get
it's
woke,
get.
get woke, go
Yeah.
broke is the one I've heard it the most.
But I just
wonder
don't
the
care.
motivation. I think he's rubbed his OCD. It's possible that person agreed with you, and they're just like, no, OCD
No, he
demands.
did. He did agree with me because once I deleted my comment and put the oh my, he responded, and we just kind of chuckled back and forth. And I'm like, I still think he's an idiot for like making a point about that, because when you do that, you're focusing on the words and not the statement. And I don't like people who do that. It's like you're missing the greater point by doing that. No, like, well, no, I got the point. It's just that I'm like, fuck off. I'm a grammar Yahtzee too. I didn't use bad grammar. It's not bad grammar. It still makes sense as a statement. Going woke will make you go broke. And I don't like get woke, go broke. I don't like that. It doesn't flow right. So I'm going to continue saying go woke, go broke. So fuck you, buddy. But he was a nice guy. We ended up chatting. And he may be watching the show. I don't know. A lot
Not
of my
anymore.
friends. No, you know I'm fucking around. I say mean things to my friends all the time.
Why we're here.
I get woke every morning. There you go. Where'd it go? I want to get that one. There we go. I get woke every morning. Yeah, what's funny in my life is I either wake myself up like minutes before the alarm goes off, or Martin wakes me up. He woke me up today from a very prodigious nap. I was having a nice nap this afternoon. I lose, just so you guys know, my naps aren't just because I'm an old man. It's not. It's because I have so much severe pain in my spine that it won't let me sleep a full night's sleep. It'll start hurting so bad I got to get up and get out of bed. And then by the time it stops hurting, you know that if people don't know this, I'm letting you know something biological, scientific. Okay. The minute light hits your retina, it triggers your brain and wakes you up. That's why it's a good idea when you go to the bathroom, if you got to get up in the middle of the night, like most guys have to, squint, close your eyes. If you have to have lights on, do this and make your way that way. It's better to go to the bathroom in the dark, because the minute the light hits the retina, you're awake. And there's not too much you can do about it. What's this? Does Martin give a little nudge with his elbow? No, he'll just call me on Facebook. And because I have my what do you call those pads, the little tablet sitting next to my bed, playing TV shows all night, because it keeps me from having my PTSD driven dreams. And then it'll get interrupted. Like it was Star Trek today. I was watching Wolf in the Fold. I woke up to Wolf in the Fold. That was what was playing when his call came in this afternoon. Woke me up. First time I answered this thing, I know I was half asleep, and I knocked my headset off because I sleep with the headset on. I'm like trying to find my headset, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't hear you. Wait a minute. And then he hung up, and then he called me back. And the next time he called me, this is what happened. I shit you not. I hear. And I'm like, do you have a filter on? Because that's what his voice sounded like. It was all distorted and slow. And I don't know if it was probably like the internet doing it, screwing up his message. It was funny as hell, though. It sounded like your gut when you've had sour cream or something you don't agree with, Which leads to a funny story. I'll go ahead and tell it before we get back into Nelson Peltz. When I was I had just gotten home from AIT in the Army, and I was just visiting two of my closest friends, Patrick and John McGrath. And we went to Taco Bell, And I was telling Patrick a funny story about his brother that I don't want to repeat here because I don't want to ever have John hear this story because he'll be mad at me. But it had to do with a girl, I'll tell you that. Anyway, so while he wasn't at the table, John was getting his food. We were at the table eating, and I always get like burritos with extra sour cream. And I discovered that night I had developed what do you call it? Lactose intolerance. And I started having so we're sitting there downstairs in the basement in Patrick's room, and there's 2 basement windows. It's in the basement of the house. It's furnished. It's really nice. And outside the window is the dog sleeping right up against the window. And my stomach starts going. And Patrick's like, "Hey man, what's wrong with Bailey?" I'm using the name Bailey because it's the only beagle name I know. It's a beagle, and it's Don's dog. And what's wrong with Bailey? Bailey, you okay? Because he was a total hippie dude. Like, was you all right, man? And Bailey like looks at him through the window and then goes back to sleep. And a few minutes later, my gut goes loud, and I'm sitting there just real quietly, like realizing they think it's the dog, and it's just funny as shit to me. And finally, at some point, it's like really gets angry, my gut, and it's like, and he like gets up and goes to the window, and hits the window. The fuck's wrong with you? Yelling at the dog. His brother gets up and he's on the window. And I just fell off the stool I was sitting on onto the floor, rolling laughing. And they're like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "It's not the dog. That's my guts."
Wow.
There you go.
Well, we have to play Tim's video.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me
Tim,
Tim.
Tim, Tim. Fucked up story. I don't eat much dairy. If I do eat dairy, I have to make sure it doesn't have the fat in it because it's milk fat that I react to. So I get like light sour cream and I'm fine. 2% milk, I'm fine.
Dragon Rose is in the house.
Oh my God, yes, yes. And it reminded me. Anima was sitting there talking to me, and I heard this sound. I went, "Is that your gut?" Because I could hear her stomach. And I think hers was growling because she was hungry. Like, go eat something for Christ's sake. Jesus, you're punishing your belly. It's complaining. So, but anyway, getting back to Peltz, man. Getting those votes, dude, if he gets those, this is going to be a major coup at Disney and start moving them in the right direction. Keith, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think if he gets on the board, push to fire Iger immediately?
Does he get the 3 seats, or does he proposal that he gets his 1 is the question?
If he gets his 1, it's still he's going to have a lot of influence. But if he's able to get 3 total seats, with one of those being the former head of Marvel, that Feige lied about and got him fired, it's going to be disruptive to Iger for sure. But what do you think, Keith?
I think that if it is true, and it looks like what the Wall Street Journal has reported, I mean, it's really from them. I think there's a very good chance that he'll push for the original plan that basically Iger said that he came back to do, which is to find a successor. He'll push for the board to actually start heading down that road to find somebody to replace him. He's not going to try to move to try to get him out because, again, even coming onto that board, he is completely outnumbered. The great thing about having Peltz and at least one other person on that board is that they will be able to actually see everything that's going on. Okay.
Well, they can also start negotiating with other people on that board.
Yeah, because they'll be able to see everything. See, as of right now, the way everything's working, Iger and that board can basically do whatever they want. Whatever they want during those meetings, they can talk about whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. if Peltz gets on that board, if he can at least get himself on and maybe one other person, then they can't do that anymore. They'll have to either have stuff in secret, which case is kind of not that legal. You can't do that, you know, or you're going to have to start saying everything out loud and in front of Peltz.
Well, you know, he's pushing to get
Not-
Ike Perlmutter put on there.
That's
No,
who they want. Yeah.
Actually,
They
no.
want Perlmutter.
Ike Perlmutter has stated that he doesn't want to go on. He's older. He really does. That's the reason why he transferred everything to Peltz. He doesn't want to actually have to sit there during all of this.
He really dislikes Feige, so you might that explains it. That explains. By the way,
because Feige did lie, and Disney was part of that lie.
Yeah,
about
but
that he was doing bad to Marvel, and what he was doing was keeping them from doing girl boss. Stuff.
And so, question, guys, can he convince George though? Because Nelson Peltz is a dynamic investor who can make money. Don't you think he'd just say, George, don't worry about it. I'm going to make you a ton more money in your stock's going to go up, and George will be like, I think I could live with that.
No, and no. I don't even think George goes
what
to
a
the
shame.
meetings. I wanted
George to be rehabilitated.
No. George knows whatever he's told. Okay.
You are my brother, George. I loved you.
I think the way that it stands, I think George's wife has a lot more input on the business side of things.
Well, which is why he did what he did. And I got to tell you again, and Doomcock understands. We talked, and I was trying to explain. I am not talking conspiracy. I am simply saying he didn't pen that statement.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. It's not written in a way that
George
acknowledged
that. I've heard Doomcock somewhat acknowledge that there's problem.
He did. He actually with me and agreed. Yeah, because what he was upset with me about when we were talking was he thought I was like saying there was conspiracy, and I'm like, no, I don't. I'm very rarely agree with conspiracy theories. I think they exist, but majority of the time, it's not what you think it is, and it's not a conspiracy. George Lucas has acquiesced here to his wife because she sits on the board of one of those DEI companies. That's part of this. So, we've lost George Lucas. We've lost it, and it breaks my heart.
Well, but on top of that, he's 80. You can't. There has to come a point where you got to get off the merry-go-round, and you just gotta, for your own sanity, let alone your health, just get to living. Do other things. Don't worry about that thing. And you got to understand, his wife is closer to our age. She's got several years to go. I mean, it really, and God forbid that this happened, if he were to basically pass away within this next year, George Lucas, that means that his wife is going to have pretty much 30 uninterrupted years to vote how she sees fit for all of that stuff. So really, the problem isn't George. The problem, the issue is his wife pretty much has her mind made up, and there's no changing her mind. Okay, she works for pretty much Bob Iger's number one guy, his biggest and best friend, which is Jamie Dimon.
Why do you marry George Lucas and then bother to have a job? I mean, I'd just be like, you know what? I'm just going to hang around the Skywalker Ranch.
No. She was doing that before. Look, a lot of people thought that she was this woman that got married and then she became wealthy. No, she was wealthy already before they met.
Oh yeah, she was the co-CEO of DreamWorks at one point.
Yeah, she was already. She did not marry him for money.
She was number 94 on Forbes' most successful women's list.
It's just the fact that she was successful, he was successful, and definitely this is somebody that George can, sit there and go, okay, it's definitely not the money.
And that's simple. He moves in.
She's in there, but she sits on a board with one of the DEI companies.
Jamie Dimon, right?
And this is the problem. and it's just it's not very good. But here's in this article, I like this. The advisory firm Egan Jones gave Trion Partners a lift in its campaign to shake up Bob Iger's boardroom at the studio. So they're one of the people pushing
Yeah.
to get Nelson Peltz under, because Egan Jones understands we want money, we want profit, and what you're doing isn't working. You're losing money. You're losing our money. And this is the problem with activist board people and investors, is they'll just keep fucking throwing money like an idiot at a strip club at bad ideas.
And again, the reason why this is so important is that all of the other studios, all of the other people that are doing this, and again, this is an infection that is spread throughout Hollywood. There is no studio that has been left unaffected by this.
Yeah, did you see that video that came out with people that work in Hollywood, like asking for help?
Yeah, I heard it.
Work.
Yeah.
I watched it the other day, and people, they were making fun of it, but these are not major people. These are people behind the scenes.
Yeah, below the line.
They're like, I haven't worked for 11 months. I haven't been able to find any work in 2 years. And it's like, I feel for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they were part of the problem that led to this.
No, these are the people that ended up getting screwed, because basically this is exactly what Script Doctor said over a year ago, before leading into the strikes. You know,
wait a minute. Script Doctor exists. He's not just a figment of my imagination. Sometimes I think he's a character I made up.
Both he, Valiant Renegade, and a few other people were talking about how the strikes would affect everything and how they negotiate and all that stuff. Well, now it's the after effect. Everybody that struck got what they wanted, but as a side effect to that, you're looking at a lot of people not being able to work. So because of how everything was negotiated, there are people who weren't a part of a lot of that, who just got basically squeezed in the middle of all this, who weren't doing anything wrong other than just working, and many of them just wanting to work. And now they're effed. And they've got no major voices. There's no group of actors or anyone wanting to strike for these people. And so what you've got going on is a situation where, yeah, there are people that are having to sell their homes, make some of them are probably going to leave the industry.
Bank accounts. They're in debt with credit.
Yeah, and it's just it's disgusting. And for all those people, especially in the Writers Guild, that thought they were getting away with something, that thought they were pulling a fast one to get the entire industry to do what they wanted in hiring so many people that don't have any experience, well, guess what? Just like Script Doctor said, there's a way around a lot of that. You know? And if you thought you were actually going to come out on the winning side on this, no.
This is like when that black gentleman that got shit canned from Star Trek, and you start hearing some of the names that he was working with that were bitching about him.
Yeah.
And nobody had any serious credits for writing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the only writer in that room.
Yeah.
And they got him fired.
Yeah.
A black guy. They canceled a black guy.
Not just a black guy, they canceled a published author.
Yeah.
Someone who actually worked in writing for a living and knew what he was doing.
Name? I remember
author Walter Mosley. The creator,
that was it. Yeah.
Creator of the character of Easy Rollins. And that detective mystery. I mean, all of those books that he's written, amazing. And I'm still shocked to this day. And my thing is, there's no amount of apologizing after that. Given the way all that went down, and this is the reason why I am so anti-Kurtzman. When you become the showrunner, you are the boss.
Yep.
If you have a problem with someone, you got to make the time to either see them face to face or at least contact them. He couldn't even look Walter Mosley in the eye to discuss this with him. If you're going to be the boss and make the big money, you got to do the boss stuff. If you're going to put on the big boy pants, you got to do the big boy job. And
I'm a big boy.
If you can't do that, then you do not deserve to have that job. Period.
Now,
That's
I
all
do
I've
wanna-
ever said.
This is an interesting part of this, is that this is what they were talking about with trying partners. Because Jay Rasulo is one of the people, if you look here, Jay Rasulo is one of the people that Egan Jones is recommending being put on the board. And this is who he is trying partners. And he is the one, restore the magic. Vote now to elect Trian's nominee Nelson Peltz and Jay Rasulo to Disney's board.
Now, Jay Rasulo was one of the people who was a possible, way back when, was going to be a possible replacement for Bob Iger. This guy, Jay Rasulo,
This guy right here
has been with Disney as long, if not longer, than anybody else currently associated with Disney. He knows all of it. I'm serious. This is a really good guy to have on the board, because he knows
more
where all the
importantly,
bodies
this
are
guy
buried.
has worked historically as a chief financial officer. He has experience in this field.
Yes.
So
These people
they
put
want this
together.
guy.
Sorry, they
No,
put
no, no,
together
I'm
a great
I'm done.
proposal for a ride that seems obvious. Kingdom Hearts, the video game's been around for a while, and Nelson Peltz, when he had his suggestions, is like, how come there's no Kingdom Hearts game when this video game is dominating the market in certain aspects for several years now? Why is there no plans? Where's your vision?
And this is the problem with woke people, is they hyper focus on the things they care about, and they don't pay attention to what makes money.
Yep.
And Kingdom Hearts was a popular game. My daughter, I had to buy that for her constantly. It was like, she started out loving SpongeBob games, okay? And then when she played the Kingdom Hearts game for the first time, that was it for her. That's all she wanted to play. Until she was older and got into horror.
By the way, for how popular Kingdom Hearts is, when they did the Smash Brothers poll, Sora was the most requested character, and that's why he was the last DLC character they had to Smash Brothers.
Now, I'm curious, Keith, what does this mean for voting? Because I thought the only people that could vote were people that were investors or on the board.
I'm sure if you click on that, it'll try to determine who you are and whether or not.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
If more people start deserting
proxy
to the Peltz
vote.
faction, if more people swing their votes to the Peltz faction or the proxy, you could turn things around pretty quick, because the board itself is not known for holding a lot of stock personally.
Whoa, wait. Let me at least from my experience, what little there is, let me just say this. If they get on, I'm not expecting everything to change immediately. Okay, it's going to take some time.
No, it'll be a slow process.
It'll be a slow process, but I will say
because
this.
you and I both know they have stuff already in the works, and they're going to have to deal with all of it.
What it is that Peltz and Rasulo will start to break stuff down. They'll start to actually see exactly what the board is looking at. They'll start to see. Basically, they'll get a good look at everything.
They will do what Keith does, which is called create a murder board. And as funny as that is, it's true.
Gerry, we don't talk about that. There was an investigation last time.
Hey, this ain't Fight Club. Fuck you, Shinatsky.
Basically, they're going to break.
You're
it
not
all
my
down.
mom.
and it'll help to actually pinpoint exactly where the problems are. Look,
yeah, it's finding the leak.
Yeah, this whole thing that Trian Partners put together, which was a really good breakdown of everything Disney had, was basically just Jay Rasulo working with the proper people to put all that together. Just think of what they could do when they have all the information that Disney actually has. I'm telling you, it'll take a while.
Finance is Rasulo, and Peltz management.
They are going to break this down. And guess what? the board could still attempt to do certain things that they've always wanted to do, but the fact that you have 2 board members already on there, the first thing they'll do is they'll just turn around and basically tell everybody, you guys either straighten up or fly right, or else we'll just basically start talking to the shareholders, and we'll see
they
how
can
long
release
this-
a lot of
Well,
information too.
They'll just start talking about how certain things need to happen. Basically, as of right now, if you are a shareholder of Disney, but you're not someone that's like a friend to Iger's, or you're really, really big and close. I mean, with any of that stuff, you only know what you're told. And what you have been told is not that much, realistically. So having Peltz and Rasulo on there, they're going to be the guys to try to clean this up. You know, this is Batman and Robin against Gotham City, is what they're walking into. They're wanting to volunteer to clean this place up. And they are at the nerve center, the heart of all of the darkness that Disney has had going on. They are willing to just jump in there, roll up their sleeves, and fix this problem. But it's going to be a problem that I think, personally, I'd say is going to take maybe 3-4 years. You know, but once it's fixed, it'll be fixed.
Yeah, and I want to add this real quick. Let me bring this up again. This is interesting right here. When Disney's efforts to build a theme park in China became snarled in the late 2000s, Chief Executive Bob Iger sent his parks chief to Shanghai to figure out why government officials weren't returning their calls. Jay Rasulo recalls meeting with high-ranking Communist Party official on the trip who urged him to not give up. Quote, Jay, keep knocking at that gate, the official said. Someday it will open. And I'll tell you why, because the Communist Party is very interesting. Mm-hmm. Because China is not communist the way we picture communism in the past. It is capitalist communism. But the problem is, just like with communism in general, it only benefits those at the top.
Yep. And
they use capitalism to fund what they're doing. And they use something similar to Reaganomics, the trickle-down method, which fucking doesn't work, which is why you find so many problems in communist places with people starving, can't afford to put gas in the car, shit like that. And you're seeing that shit today, right now. They're doing so much damage to our country right now financially. We are in trouble.
Yeah.
And it is ridiculous how bad it is. And of course, you know, everybody wants to blame, you know, liberals for it. And the fact is that's not the problem. The problem is liberals who have sold out to leftists and the leftists. They're the people who've done it. And we have politicians that have seats in the Senate. They have seats in the other part. I just forgot the name of it. House of Representatives. And I got it. I said it before, you motherfuckers. Fuck you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And then, of course, we have a president currently who is bought and sold by China. And so we're in trouble. We're in deep doo-doo right now. And I'm not sure how we're going to get out of it, or if we can get out of it. This could be the end of our nation as we know it. What's going to happen? I've seen a lot of people that are liberal friends of mine that have moved to the country, bought a lot of guns. They're not stockpiling, but they bought enough guns to defend the house if things go south. And I look at them and go, you're crazy. But then a year later, I'm like, maybe that wasn't so crazy.
By the way, for Disney's problems, it's even worse. Because remember a couple of years ago with that whistleblower, Miss Kubo? It was about $2.5 billion a year. That's what she found out. Any bet that they've continued to do the same crap where they were claiming sales were going on, listing their revenues inflated? So
that's what I meant when I said that he could release interesting facts. Sorry,
Yeah,
Shinatsu.
because Disney has no. I stopped so you can finish. No, it's they have fudged so much stuff, and they've done some underhanded stuff. They get caught and they don't respond to it, which is kind of smart, but it doesn't stop the fact that they're doing something that's borderline criminal, but it's not. It's borderline. It's right on the edge. Buying out theaters in Asia and Southeast and Malaysia, they'll buy out theaters there because they're cheap, and it'll boost their numbers for a film. They've done it multiple times, been caught doing it. Nobody wants to go see these movies, and they'll show empty theaters. And it's like, how can that theater be sold out? And there's like nobody there. It's because they were doing this as part of their marketing, and they don't see it as a great loss. They just add it to the marketing. It's like, what, $1 million to buy out a bunch of theaters in Malaysia and boost their numbers?
Maybe even less than that. But I think I remember looking at the international, and Malaysia stuck out. It was like $7,000. There's like 2 movie theaters in that country.
Yeah, like it's crazy. The Philippines, Thailand, and so you see that kind of stuff, and everybody was like really coming down on it. You remember when they were like talking about it when it happened, Keith?
Yeah.
And I kind of said, look, I don't like it either, but it's marketing 101. It's hucksterism. It's what Barnum and Bailey would have done. P.T. Barnum in particular.
We are close to seeing some major shakeups. And again, Disney might be able to correct certain things in the short term. In the long term, it's going to take several years. But I'll tell you this much. Those two get on the board, that is going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire entertainment industry. And I think the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to see some major changes going on in places like CBS and Paramount. I'll tell you that much right now.
They are
the worst out of everybody.
They're in so much trouble, dude, financially.
As of right now, CBS is in such dire straits. Okay? They are a company, they are a corporation that is just... It's like
love over gold.
If all this bad stuff were a nuclear explosion, CBS is sitting right next to the bomb. Let's put it that way. They're sitting right next to it.
They should change their name.
Sorry, go ahead, Zanatsky.
They should change their name from CBS to SEEBS.
They're kind of like
if you remember back in December of last year, here, let me show it real quick. This article came out and from Axios, and Sarah Fisher was scoop Warner Brothers Discovery in talks to merge with Paramount Global. There, and basically they wanted to handpick. Zaslav wanted to handpick certain properties, and that's how the talks ended up going. Is he wanted to handpick specific things like Star Trek. Yes. And this is the direction we're headed right now because Paramount has hemorrhaged money so much due to piss poor management. And I got to put a name in there that I thought was going to be a savior, was Sherry Redstone.
Yeah.
She failed to do her job.
And she wants out. She wants out because she's
well, she does now. Jesus Christ. Who wouldn't? The rats leaving the sinking ship. Jesus Christ. She had a chance to fire Alex Kurtzman. That contract couldn't stop her from firing him and buying him out is what it was. Firing him and buying him
so
out.
High,
but they were so afraid of losing money. And look what happened.
Keith, I'm sorry, Gary. I agree with you 100%, and I wish you had done that. But if we look at the Netflix incident of them getting rid of New Trek, what we found out was they had produced, and this was the open question, because Hollywood, of course, it's arbitration, not court, so we don't get to know, but it carries legal weight. They were saying going in, we're going to prove it's not Star Trek. We're going to get out of this buyout that the buyers have because it's actually parasitic and prohibitive. And we're going to prove they wrote this bad on purpose to get out, to trigger this buyout. And what happened was they got a common law ruling, which means that any two businesses that do business, like if you buy ink from me to make your comic book company, right? You print them, say, and you want to change to another ink supplier, even though we might not have a contract, unless you cancel and give me a few months to readjust my business, you might take my business out. So the government has like rules about that, and they gave the same ruling for Paramount as if everything to Netflix, as though everything they said was true. They canceled it from the first minute they got it. They never had to take the card, and they were told that, like, you know what, your argument that this is not Star Trek and that this is not what you asked for and that they're trying to write it bad on purpose, like, they ain't got much to say to prove it wrong. Like, this is sort of going your way when they just said, you know what, we're going to impose a common law solution, which is 3 years, and the deal's up.
Yeah,
and that's what ended up happening.
It is. Look, as of right now. Skydance really is the company that seems to be in the driver's seat to actually do this deal. And what I've heard, the rumor that I've heard, is that there's one of two things is happening. Either Skydance is entering final negotiations to make this happen, to buy it out, or Skydance is getting ready to pull it. Just jump out of the entire deal. And if Skydance decides to go into this, Skydance has already indicated, again, they don't want Star Trek. It is so damaged. They don't even think they can do anything with it. And remember, Skydance was one of the main companies that helped to produce and fund a lot of the movies that they did, the JJ films. If they don't want it,
they've been right there watching the damage happen, right? They're like, no. You know what? They could spin this off and let it be its own TV thing. And we've seen Zaslav is pragmatic enough to be like, you know what? Like, we could just hire a couple writers for like $300,000 and have them come up with ideas. And then, like, we'll revisit this in about 18 months when this blows over.
Well, here's the thing. Things are, again, as I said earlier, things are so bad in Hollywood right now. The problem is that Zaslav may not even have the money to be able to make this happen, because they're still trying to pay off all of the damage that was done, you know, from before he took over Warner Brothers. Again, people keep forgetting Warner Brothers was really bad off financially. They hid a lot of that stuff. It was the same
sort of piss poor management we see at Paramount and at Disney.
So he's trying to, you know, he comes in to taking control over Warner Brothers, and that's the reason why he kept talking about we need to make some cuts, and he got made fun of for it. There were a lot of people in the media who were like, "Oh, why is he firing so many people? Why is he getting rid of?" He's getting rid of all of the people for whom he can't figure out, and they cannot explain why so much money has been bleeding out of this company.
And none of the cast has ever come after him punitively that I know of so far to say these movies needed to be made. They say things like, we're sorry that our work didn't get shown and we put a lot of our heart into it. But no one has said this movie didn't deserve to be destroyed. They were just like, it's cool. The Batgirl people walked out on with life and they're like, it's cool. We'll be fine.
Well,
and
some of them had certain things to say, but they're actors. Okay, and when it comes to look,
fuck actors.
I got nothing but respect.
They bemoan the loss of their work. That's all. I didn't hear anybody
fuck
going
those
after
pretenders.
But the thing is that you only know what you're told.
If you're good at lying, you'll be a good actor.
While the directors were actually informed, hey, this is how this is going to go, and they were a little upset. But here's the thing: they understood. The lead actor, Grace. She didn't understand, and that's fine. She's young, okay?
Fraser
but guess what?
Relieved.
Get over it. This project was done. And even Michael Keaton is like, it was decent enough. It's not like he's giving it a ringing endorsement. He worked on it. He got paid. He might go back to Warner Brothers to do something else if they pay him. But people got to get past this now. It's done. It's over, okay?
Well, at the end of the day, Batgirl was told that, like, we will revisit this with a better story and movie down the line, but this ain't it. That was the official line. So if you really care about quality, if you love Batgirl, then like waiting a couple more years for Batgirl to get the movie that you can really enjoy instead of being a bad Batwoman, that's great.
A majority of the people who really are upset are the people that were wanting to do the DEI Batgirl. They didn't like it because of the character. They liked it because it was a woman of color playing the character. And the fact of the matter is that they're afraid, as well they should be, that James Gunn isn't going to make this happen for them now because they were promised a Batgirl of color. Well, too bad. So sad. Keep moving. And just to let you understand this, the Black Canary character, the way that you saw her, also in the film that they put out for Birds of Prey, yeah, that ain't happening either. That's all done. Okay. What you can look forward to is there will be characters of color, but they will be the characters as they are currently presented in comic book form. No major changes. Okay. In fact, some of you out there who are Berlanti fans and excited about Mr. Terrific, this is not the Mr. Terrific from Berlanti, who Berlanti changed the name of the character, decided to change the character and make him gay. This is not the version of that character. This is the version from the comics. Yeah, he's black, but it's not the Berlanti version of that character. He is straight, and he is smart. And that's what you're going to get, so deal with it. There are characters that are like that, and they will be added to that universe. It's coming, but you got to wait. Ultimately, what you're looking at is some changes, and it's going to be like a domino effect. You know, once Disney gets that first crack, it's just going to ripple all throughout the rest of the entire business. And then you're going to start seeing some people who, up to this point, haven't said anything publicly, who are now going to suddenly just start talking out loud and saying all the stuff that you've been hearing from either Nerdrotic or Valiant Renegade or others who had been contacted in the hush-hush tone saying, hey, we support you. Now they'll be able to stick their heads up and go, hey, this ain't right.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't like that English prick but he had Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic on, Gerry from Nerdrotic this last week.
Yes.
And that impressed me that they're starting to pay attention to our community and the shit we're saying, because we know what we're talking about with these things. And before we go, I do want to put these up real quick here. We got Read by Nature. The only outpouring of support I saw was from people who had no clue what the film was about and were only concerned because the actress was non-white. And then this one, I hope, from Don Ranger Power, I hope Skydance wins the bidding war to Paramount Global, including CBS branded assets, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, SpongeBob, etc. I concur with you. They need to completely overhaul Nickelodeon after we've been finding out some of the abuses at Nickelodeon with the kids. We need to set up, this is one of the few areas where you hear me go, oversight. I'll say something about oversight. We need oversight to protect these kids in the entertainment industry. We need to stop this shit.
Prodigy's done.
The sexual, look, I tell people all the time, jokes love to be made about Catholics. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Every single career in the world that will have contact with children and women attracts predators. Law enforcement, school teaching, preaching,
Hollywood,
and they're all over fucking Hollywood, man. And you see these guys, and they're so, I saw those videos with that fucking prick from Nickelodeon, that actor.
Yeah.
And, and he's like joking around and pounding around with, what's his name? The Italian kid. That's famous now. He played Howard Hughes. Come on, guys. There's got to be one brain.
DiCaprio.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's who the one brain is. It was Teague. Thanks. So
I remember who the other person whose name you couldn't remember was either, but I've now forgotten who we were talking about before.
What were we talking about? ADD Theater, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, welcome, guys. We
so, even they got to clean up Hollywood, man.
Here, I smoke the pot.
This cultish sexual predator crap has got to stop. We got to stop these things. P. Diddy is just that's the tip of the iceberg. People are acting like he's going to be just the tip of the iceberg.
Did R.
guarantee
Kelly
you.
turn state's evidence on him? Because that just, to me, came out of seemingly nowhere.
No, there have been people.
I don't think so.
There have been
His
people
name is on a
talking-
list.
There have been people
Yeah.
talking about Diddy for a long time. It's just that now that all of this has come out, you can go back and look at a lot of those comments that have been happening over the last almost 10 years and understand what people have been trying to say. Because again, not everybody can be the guys from South Park and just start saying stuff. You know, some people
Right.
had to deal in the industry. People like 50 Cent. 50 Cent has a story that he related about when he first got into the business and how Diddy wanted to take him shopping in exchange for them kicking it. You know,
That's really weird. And I will say this: Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has proven himself in Hollywood. You can like it or love it or hate it. It is now an empire of 4 shows power. And I don't know, for me personally, I don't mind watching Raising Kanan. Some of those shows are good. He's proven he can write a good story and be a good story consultant. Raising Kanan and the Power stories, pretty good. They're pretty good. So,
Yeah.
you know, he can entertain too.
Yeah,
I like those shows.
He's slowly.
I have zero
building-
faith in Gunn, by the way, Read by Nature. I have zero faith in him until he shows some proof of what he can do as a big time manager.
Mhm.
Because previously he wasn't a manager; he was a director that was being managed,
Mhm.
and now he's in charge of everything. And until I start seeing some serious work from him, I have doubts that he'll be any kind of savior for DC.
And the reason why I agree with that is because this is how really it should have been done from the very beginning with everything. Anybody who still believes that Warner Brothers would have been better off if they had done what Marvel had done doesn't understand how this works. Even if they had started with individual films, you still were not going to have anyone allowed to be in charge the same way that Kevin Feige was. Warner Brothers was never going to give power to any single individual to do that. And the only reason why Marvel could do that was because their company existed before Disney bought them.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you said Feige, but I think you're referring to Whedon, which are in their successful phase, correct?
No. I mean, again, Feige's job initially was just to run films. Now he's running everything. And the thing about it is,
once he pulled the con of getting what's his
Perlmutter.
name? Ike fired. He had absolute control, and that's when everything went south.
That's right.
We got to wrap up here, guys. I like this comment here. On the contrary, I'm ready for season 2 of Prodigy, even though it isn't Star Trek, and it isn't. It's not Star Trek. It's sci-fi, but it's not Star Trek. They slap the name on there, but that has nothing to do with Star Trek. They throw Star Trek characters in it, doesn't make it Star Trek. I hear it's a good show. I hear it's a good show. People enjoy it.
Prodigy was originally meant to go 2 seasons. That was built into what it was originally.
I'll tell you what they should have done, though, Keith. They should have found a way to put them through Starfleet Academy in space.
Yeah. Well,
and they should have had Janeway in charge instead of just letting them do what they're doing. I kept watching.
It's psycho
so
kidnapper-ish.
It just didn't work for me. Because when something slaps the label of Star Trek on it, I expect it to be Star Trek. But anyway, this is I'm going to do this because I used to love it when Craig Kilborn used to do this. This is your moment of zen before we end the show. I fucking love this. Arnold being funny. I love Arnold, man. Okay, man. Anything before we go, guys, that you want to say?
Yeah.
I'm live in 20 minutes. Check out my show. I'll be live in a little bit.
That's right. It's Friday. Teague does his show.
Wait.
I'm sorry. I guess I had a browser open there.
Yes, Martin.
We're all holding, Martin. What?
No, don't close the stream. I'm posting the TIG links.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so
Jesus
much.
Christ, you're interrupting the flow, brother. So Teague's got a show coming up next. You also have Friday Night Tights with Nerdrotic and the Gang. You also have Friday Frolics with our friend Doomcock. Looking forward to, Jesus Christ, 5-7 hours of karaoke. I don't know how he has the energy to do it. He kills me, man. I love Doomcock. I really do. Funny dude. Can't believe you're a Kilborn fan too. Huge Kilborn fan, man. He just doesn't have the staying power. It's the problem with Craig Kilborn. I see Monkey Jeebus jumped in too.
Yes.
Reaction rundown. Let's see. We got Dragon Ruse, my buddy Secret Circus podcast. The Peter Vinkman fan site, of course, Vinkman's girl. Real Read by Nature, Kingsport Cal, Zax, D. Bud Martin, E. Clay Thomason, Shinatsky, who's on the show, Don Ranger Power, Penny, K. Roberts, Andy Morrow, Anima Confused, the Love of My Life. Stark of Iron was here for a little bit. Lord Thoth, all hail Lord Thoth. I want to thank everybody for being here. We had a huge crowd tonight. It's right now. Do you see the number, guys, in the studio? We currently have 62 watching us.
Wow.
And it's been consistently between 50 and 65 the whole show, which is really great. A lot of that is on Twitter, and we appreciate the Twitter crowd. Wish you guys would comment, join the chat, and because Twitter is included with our chat, our live chat. So we actually get your comments. If any of you are talking through Twitter, you say it. Let us know. We're watching on Twitter. We'd love to hear about it, man.
Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Get on
Leave
this.
a comment after the show ends. You can comment down below. Below my crotch. Not on my crotch, but below it.
I haven't seen my crotch lately, so.
Mike Roch? Is Mike Roch here? Mike Roch?
All right.
We're looking for Mike Crotch.
We need to
final word.
What do you got there? What show and tell thing do you got there, Keith?
Okay, quickly, I will be discussing in detail on my show on Thursday. This is a game called Joe's Labyrinth Challenge. This is from Joe Ryan, a buddy of ours, who created a D&D, or at least a role-playing game. It's for charity. I will be going into detail and depth about what this is and how you can actually add to and buy this and support good gaming, really. So,
and of course, I've been funded to do the book. I'm good to go. I'm drawn away. Got 100 pages done right now, right at 100. This last page I was doing was 100. So moving forward, there's not enough funding yet for Richard to do his chapter. I'm hoping to start an Indiegogo because I feel like my comic is not getting the numbers, the crowd that Indiegogo will get. So I'm just going to hit Indiegogo for funding him, and then I'll fund the printing later once we get to that point. So those of you who have funded, of course, the book, you'll at least immediately, when the book is done, get your e-copy. And then we'll look at funding for printing. Worry about that shit later. That's how I look at it. So I appreciate everybody. And again, Martin, would you share the link in the chat? Please share the link out for my book. I deeply appreciate it. Is there a link for that?
Yeah, I'll be putting it in there. It's 417.
We need it now. Share it with Martin while we're talking about it.
Okay.
I'm going to do show and tell, but I don't got no links for it. Way to go, Keith.
Well, he's getting the link.
Professional show.
I apologize.
Just my 2 cents I want to add on with all this superhero stuff. I think it was, I'm going to paraphrase Stanley here because I think he said it best. When we created Peter Parker, he could have been any race, but we made him the way we did. Respect that. But by all means, create additional characters along the spectrum of every type of sexuality, race, religion, creed, etc. But, these are the characters as we made them. And this is what the real laziness is that they're unwilling to bet on someone making a character of X persuasion because it would have to stand on its own instead of tarnishing the legacy of a previous character. And, they go, it's like, who's going to, go for a, female character? It's like, I don't know. There's this thing called Batman Animated Series, and they created a character called Harley Quinn. Never heard of her after, X-Men Evolution. Gee, X-23. Not popular at all. You just have to be creative. But these people aren't. And that's why they have to hijack things that creative people made.
Thank you.
You got the link?
No, I don't have any link. Where's the link?
I sent it to you right to your personal. That way I thought you would get it.
Okay.
We're professional here, people. We're professionals.
Yes.
Back off me, man. I'm a YouTuber.
Are you, Shanatsky?
I'm as much of a YouTuber as Mexican Iron Man is.
Well, that means something.
But how Mexican are you?
Well, I do use a leaf blower, and so in many ways, I am more Latino than some Latinos.
See, I don't know. I'm Latino,
that
but I'm
explains your
white,
penchant for riding lowriders.
And why I'm so good at stealing wallets.
That explains Gary's penchant for being a lowbrower.
Lowbrower. That's my middle name.
You have two middle names?
I have two middle names. Yes, I actually do. Legally, I have two middle names. It's Gerry Richard Patrick himself.
Who set their microphone on fire?
That's Keith.
That's Keith.
Keith is either opening that magazine or having trouble getting his penis out.
Wow.
It's one or the other.
Wow.
Just make sure it's not too wrinkled to wear in public, Keith. That people are going to see it.
I'm not saying it's wrinkly, but listen to that.
He couldn't find condoms that were big enough, so he's having to make do with the packaging.
I have to steam mine a little.
Buy exterior house paint. It's made of latex, and that shit'll last 3 years through any weather.
Good night.
If we get demonetized, I'll have no idea why. No idea, Gerry. None.
Don't worry. If they go to demonetize us, I'll trim out those segments.
Man, at this rate, we are ending paying YouTube.
Hell.
Did we get the link yet? Did we get the link?
Yeah,
that's all
the
I'm waiting for.
Link is posted.
What?
Oh, it's posted. That's all I was waiting for.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Got it. All right, there you go. Fuck it. We're out of here. Jesus
everybody,
Christ.
love you all. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Sure, whatever. And by the way, the next time Fed or somebody like that does a show about Big Trouble in Little China Teague, I expect you to say something to me, because I should have been on that panel.
I agree. Wasn't my
I know
show,
a lot
though.
about that film, and I'm a huge Carpenter fan. I already said something to Fett about it. I'm like, hey, man, dude.
Old Admiral Teague, just tried to tell everybody that you should be on there, but like my mom always told me, people don't listen to the smartest man. Yeah, and no one indulged my theory that the creature at the end was actually his Chewbacca, and he was going to go forward with that as his Chewie as Han Solo, because he's so much like Han Solo. Old Jack Burton is Han Solo. The Pork Chop Express is totally the Millennium Falcon. It's totally the Millennium Falcon. He loves it.
It's even more fun. In the comics, his ex-wife was a vampire, if I remember right.
What I love is that there's so many connections back to Buckaroo Banzai.
Yes.
But anyway, guys, we got to get out of here. Appreciate it. Hey, Brian, what time is it?
That's it. Show's over.
Okay, we got to go. So see you guys next time. Tomorrow we'll be doing Secondhand Lions with Michael Caine and Robert Duvall and that little kid from the Ghost movie. So
cool. Oh, Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, it's a good fucking movie, dude.
It's a good actor.
Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Bye now. Fuck you, Shanatsky.
My vengeance.
fucking